This is for the IXL simplify radical expressions with variables 1. I want to simplify the square root of x to the fourth. First, I'm going to identify my index or root as 2. That means that I'm taking the second root of x to the fourth. It also means that I'm looking for a variable expression that multiplied by itself 2 times will give me x to the fourth. First, I'm going to factor x to the fourth as x by times itself 4 times. Then, since my index is 2, I'm going to try to form groups of 2 factors. So I'm going to get the square root of x times x as one group, and then my second group is also x times x. Then I'm going to simplify x times x as x to the second. So I'm going to get the square root of x squared times x to the second. Next, I'm going to break apart or separate my radical expression here into 2 parts. So it's going to become the square root of x to the second times the square root of x to the second. Next, I'm going to simplify the square root of x to the second as just x, because x times x gives me x to the second. I'm going to do the same thing for the second one, and I'm also going to get x. So my final answer is x times x, which gives me x squared. Now, IXL wants me to write the answer in a specific format, so since my root or index is 2, and 2 happens to be an even number, I have to type my answer as the absolute value of x to the second rather than just x to the second. Now I want to simplify the square root of 289 times x to the 8th. So first I'm going to identify my index again as 2. Then I'm going to break apart or separate my radical expression as the square root of 289 times the square root of x to the 8th. Then I'm going to factor 289 as 17 times 17, and I'm going to factor x to the 8th power as x to the second times itself 4 times. Then I'm going to simplify 17 times 17 as simply 17 squared. And then I want to break apart this radical expression into four parts. So it will become the square root of x to the second, and I'm going to have 4 of those. Then I'm going to simplify the square root of 17 as the square root of 17 to the second, as 17, because 17 times 17 will give me 17 to the second, or 289. I'm going to simplify the square root of x squared as x. Again, that's because I'm looking for an expression that multiplied by itself twice will give me x to the second, and that will be x, because x times x is x to the second. So I'm going to have 4 x's. Finally, I'm just going to simplify. So I'm going to multiply x by itself 4 times to get x to the fourth, and then don't forget my 17. Now, since the root or my index was 2, and that is even, I need to type my answer as the absolute value of 17 times x to the fourth rather than just 17x to the fourth. If my root was, for example, 3, which is an odd number, I don't need to worry about absolute value signs, but I do need to worry about them when I have an even root or index. Finally, really quickly, I'm going to simplify the square root of x to the ninth. So again, my index is 2. I'm going to factor x to the ninth as x to the second multiplied by itself 4 times. But then this is just x to the 8th. I need an extra x to get x to the ninth. Next, I'm going to separate or break apart my radical expression into 5 different square roots. Then I want to simplify the square root of x squared as just x. So I'm going to get 4 of those. And then I cannot simplify the square root of x, so I'm just going to rewrite it over here. To get my final answer, I'm going to get x to the fourth by multiplying x by itself 4 times. And then I'm just going to carry over the square root of x. and I can simplify the square root of x as simply the square root of x without my index number. Now again, since the root of this radical expression is 2, right here, my root is 2 or my index is 2, that is even, I need to type my answer as the absolute value of x to the fourth, and then I do not need to worry about writing an absolute value sign around the square root of x because I wasn't able to get rid of the square root sign. As you keep working on these problems, you're gonna be skipping steps and you are gonna do less writing and finish it up quickly or more fast. But for now, I just wanted to show you all of the steps.